You'd be so nice. Bada boom. Oh man, you ever get a song just stuck in your head? What's that? You'd be so nice to come home to. Stuck in my head right now. Old jazz standard. Let's see. I think audio levels are good. I think everything's working right. Part of me wants to, of course, find my own stream so I can look at my chat. Though I've been having such struggles doing that. I fully understand now why people have like dual monitor setups. Cause man, tricky to compose and also follow chat. To get things set up, to just kind of preface what we're doing today. We are composing a song for this OST Fragments jam. And the prompt just got posted, I believe, yesterday or maybe the day before. But it's quintal or quartal harmony. Quartal and quintal harmony is harmony based on fourths and fifths. Let's see. I think they talk about it here. Yeah, so fourths instead of thirds is sort of what we're working on right here. Really kind of fun stuff. This is used sort of all over the place when you start really looking for it, but mostly like jazz and rock and things like that. Most Western harmony stuff is based off of tertian harmony, which would be thirds. So the theme of the thing is future past, and I've got two ideas for that. I think what I'll start with today is really simply just like a piano song. I think would be a great way to just get pen to paper, so to speak, for this. So let's see. Add text, title, OST, fragment, jam. And technically this is number 2. Looks like I missed number 1, but you know, I didn't know number 1 was happening. Alright, let's see. And then might as well text, composer. Gotta put your name on your work. I didn't for a while, but you know, we're going up. Okay, and then just because I like how it sounds a lot of times, I kind of wonder what our electric piano sounds. I bet you. We could find that. Let's see. Muse sounds. I wonder where the Muse Basic is actually. Oh, there it is. MS Basic. Okay, so MS Basic, piano. We've got some great electrics. I think I'll just take the. Let's see what the Tyne electric thing sounds like. Yeah, I kind of just. This is a great little electric piano sound that MuseScore's got. Let's see. I'll turn that up just a little bit in my own headset. And there we go. Okay. How do we want to start this? Quartal harmony is always so funky because you get really used to thinking about your chords as thirds and in this tertian mode. Okay, let's clear that off. No mixer. Let's just start. Let's start with the little minor 4/4/4. There you go. The fifths are always more open sounding to me. It's such a chord. It's so big. Let's see. We'll make it a little softer on the ears. Give us a little. Ooh, pretty little thing. What I probably want to do. Just give us a melody. Something kind of melancholic. So no, looks like we are in major after all. Let's see, key signatures. We'll stick a major on there. And tie. Mr. Okay. So I usually just honestly when I'm first composing, I kind of just put something on paper and then let things sort of settle. So I think I actually want this in 3/4. I think I want this to be a pickup. So like this, which means I want this chord to actually land here, so we get, and I want that to be slower. I want us to really revel in these chords. So I'll put, let's see what 80 sounds like. I think MuseScore's default is 120. Yeah, so that just gives us time to kind of sit in these chords for a little bit. I'd be okay letting that note sit a little bit longer, I think. So what if I do something more like that? Give it a whole measure to breathe. And we're going to C, so. And if we do fifths off of this, then we'll land on that C sharp anyhow. So, articulate arpeggios and glissandos. Add that in there. Now take a listen to this. I wonder if I can add another piano. Another piano. We will also make that one the tine. So this is just the piano, tine electric piano. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a really just high twinkly little synthy line that helps reinforce that quartal harmony type line. So I'm gonna take a clef and we'll stick. We'll do a 8 VA treble clef. So you'll notice that little 8 above the treble clef sign. That little 8 above the treble clef sign means that whatever notes I put in here are actually going to be played an octave higher than they're written. So because I just love triplets so much, I wonder if we can't do something kind of like this. And then we'll just make sure it's really quiet because I don't want it to be like the main the main idea or anything. So let's make it real soft, and we'll just add in this quintal line. So what if we do got this A shape? So yeah, you can hear how high that is. I mean, that's obviously not normally how high these notes would be. It's just, I think I might actually want these to be quicker and quieter at that rate. So we'll have those be triple P, and maybe we can do like an offbeat 16th thing then. So if we do a GD or a something like that. What if we try that out? Boom, 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 boom. It's a little bit lower, but I think it'll still be okay if we get. Because then it feels, to me at least, it feels a little bit kind of like more futuristic-y and alien with that kind of sound behind it. So let's take a listen. I can't, just maybe constant. Because then we get this, it's kind of cool, we get this sort of almost Lydian type sound. And if I keep that same one going, let's see what that sounds like. Because then we kind of get this little E major almost sound. So, yeah, and little lines like that are just super helpful in making the song feel like it's progressing, even when obviously I'm just sitting on these same chords for just like a total measure or two. We can just sit and just let these chords kind of breathe for a moment. There we go. We'll just let that one happen. Take a listen. Okay, to give myself a little bit more room to work with, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn that piano down so it's just a lot quieter to start. Probably even go a little bit quieter. Because then I can actually use the dynamic marking. So now if I turn this back up to maybe just pianissimo. Gives me a little bit of room where I could add in a small crescendo. That's probably a little bit too early. Let's put it on these ones so that way it coincides with that low hit. So, and just a little bit. And we let it kind of decay for this whole bit down to really soft. Okay, here we go. Let's take a listen. Yeah, I kind of like that. It's nice. It's kind of it's got this peaceful sort of tone. Yeah, I'm sort of down with that. I wonder if I could just basically repeat this whole first idea, and then just change the last chord. So I'll just copy that, paste that, boom, boom. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So then, gotta change this last chord. Let's just change it to something real heavy and bassy. You know, I just took this whole thing and just shifted it all together. So if I put E, so yeah. Oh, we're just gonna let that one breathe for a second. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, whole thing from the top. There it is. All right, there's my cat scratching on the door. I'm gonna go let him out real quick. Alright, I give him 5 minutes before he starts clawing to be let back in. But that's cats for you. You really can't expect too much else from them. They are just... they're such funny little beasts. Alright, here we go. Back to the top. Let me get back into this. Okay. So we got... Good, okay, so then this part, I need to make sure that it doesn't stop. So, make sure I fill in that rest. And then, cool. To answer your question there, Flo Revless, I signed up for an audio jam. So I'm writing a song for that. The premise is that I have to use quartal and quintal harmony, which is harmony based around fourths and fifths rather than thirds. So that's why my chords look a little bit more spaced out than normal, perhaps. Okay, so we landed on that D. And, okay, so at this point, at least in my estimation. The listener is going to be fairly used to this sound, so we need to go somewhere a little bit unexpected, a little bit different. One of my favorite ways to go somewhere unexpected and different is just to take the same chord that I just played and lower it down one whole step. Alright, you'll notice that I get some accidentals in here. This brings me to C natural, which is a great note in the key of A. So let's say yeah, and it's really heavy. I mean, it's just not any respite so far from this kind of like oppressive sort of tone. Let's see, what did I do there? Okay, there we go. Good. Copy paste, copy paste. All right, let's start from the second half of that. So we want right there. Okay, so then that chord kind of brings us down a little bit. And let's see if we can't come back home. So I'm coming back home to this chord is where I want to return back to. So sometimes I'll put that as my target. So I'm targeting over here. So let's see. If I went to B, so take the same idea. And we take that and we go to B there. It's a little bit low now. I feel like that's starting to get just a hair muddy. Wow. There it is. We take a chord like this, and let's see. So if I take B, oh, ghost chord, can't see it anymore. Let's see, B to D sharp, F sharp, A. So this is a tertian chord, right? Because it's all built on thirds. Because B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So I'm doing my thirds there. So I kind of want to rewrite this sound, but as quartal and quintal harmony. Now this works technically because I got, a fifth and then a fourth. But I still have this third right here. So I feel like to justify that thing, I need to include something like that. Because then we have all of our little connector pieces. What this does as well is it will help to make this chord a little bit bigger. So instead of just playing like a B7, I'm playing a B9. And that just makes my chord huge. Okay, so let's do this. Let's say I've got this chord, and we'll let it linger. Have a measure of silence or two, and then we come back to this chord. And let's just see how that sounds. Oh, that was so weird. I was like, man, I can't hear the 16th notes. Of course I can't. Let's try that again. Try that again. Okay. It's a good idea. I think I just need to I might just let this chord sit a little bit longer. So let this chord sit. And then we'll forget this one. This one's a little bit too pointed. By pointed, I mean like it just directs too harshly. I think back to this A chord that I'm kind of sit on. So if I let that sit, and we do something like this, or I take this line, we let it persist, so we got... Can I do something like this where I make those notes? What happens if I just put let ring there? It's usually a guitar notation, but I'm kind of curious. Yeah, okay, it didn't do anything. I was just sort of, I was curious. Usually this pedal only lasts for the measure, but I wonder if I did that, if it'll let it ring. Yeah, there we go. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so now we just need to add some dynamics to this part. I kind of want to change it here. What if we just did the same thing that we did with the chord and just drop this, just one whole tone? Ooh, do not like that. Nope, nope, back up. Back. Okay, one more time. On top. I think what I want to do is repeat this chord once here, add some extra weight into that. So we'll take this chord, repeat it there. Do, D. So there's a nice walk down. So probably don't need the whole chord either there. I've kind of established this like one bass note walking down. So what I can probably do is just get rid of all those. That's nice. Let's see if I can maybe double. What happens if I double that note up an octave? So we still get that low. Okay. So then I think what I want is for this to fade out underneath this chord, because that's where it's the crunchiest. And by crunchy, I just mean these notes are the most dissonant against this, because I'm kind of playing like a C major-ish type sound here, and I've got E, but then I've got G sharp against G, and I've got A against G, and then F, D against. There's a lot of notes that kind of crunch against there that would bash heads. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to have this whole section here, decrescendo, down to just almost nothing. So as quiet as we can go. And then we'll start the build-up again here of us going maybe to the loudest that this has ever been. So crescendo to mezzo piano. Ooh, the loudest we've ever been, mezzo piano. And see how that goes. So... it's sort of nice. Oh man, I might even just let that sit for just a little bit longer. Really let that note just kind of stir. Let's just push it back one more measure. So if we get... Oh, just let the whole thing sit there. Oh, it's beautiful. I really, I really like how that sounds. I find that quartal and quintal harmonies like this are usually pretty peaceful sounding. A while back, I did an arrangement of, and I wonder if I can find it now. Last time I did this, I had to really hunt for it. I did an arrangement of Amazing Grace in a bunch of different styles when I was in college. So let's see if I can find that. Just another example of this quartal quintal harmony stuff. So I had, let's see, a bunch of different versions of it, but the last version that I did. And I don't know, for me, I just find this version of Amazing Grace to be very, like, inquisitive. It has a sense of, like, wonder about it. I feel like it's like if I had listened to Amazing Grace for the very first time. That's sort of the emotion that it gives me, as opposed to the much more, like, classical version of. Which, for the record, is also really pretty. I think it's a beautiful song. But yeah, just these quartal and quintal harmonies usually have this kind of air of unfinished energy to them. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but they always have this sense of wonder and beauty to them. I think that's just based on kind of how they function. So, all right, I'm gonna get myself back into it. Let's listen to the song we're working on one more time. So here's what we got so far. Just lets you take a little breath there. Oh, it's wonderful. I'm really okay with that. Okay, so this, unfortunately, really sounds like kind of the end of the song for me. And I believe for the jam, I've got to write uh, 5 minutes of music. I believe. Let's take a look. This is quartal harmony details. For this jam, we have to decompose at least 5 minutes of music. Yep. Okay, so at least 5 minutes of music. So I can do that. We'll make that happen. Right now, we're sitting at just about 1 minute of music, which, 1 minute of music for 30 minutes of work time, not bad. And they mentioned in the jam as well that I can write multiple different pieces as long as they're sort of connected in some way. So I think that this idea right here makes a kind of nice, like, title track. This would be something that, sits on that, right? And then I basically would just stick in, where is the thing I'm looking for? Bar lines. There we go. All right. Let that sit for a bit, and then let that last chord hit. And then we do that, and it repeats back to here. So let's just take a listen to that. So this would be kind of a finished draft of this song. Okay, I thought this on the first time I listened to it. I think it gets a little bit too quiet too quick here. I'm going to extend this to right here. So it sounds like my neighbor's mowing the lawn. Hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. Hopefully you actually can't hear it at all. Let's pick it up from about halfway through. There it is. And thus we have the loop. Ta-da! Look at that. Ah, it's a beautiful little sound. I'm good. I'm glad you can't hear the mower yet, but you know, give it time. It might pop through. I'm glad you like the song. Oh yeah, let me know if you want me to write you one of these. I'd be happy to do so. It's a really pretty way to write music. And oh man, you play this on the piano, you just start hitting fifths. If you just spread them out, it is gorgeous. On just an initial listen, I believe that the Breath of the Wild, like Legends of the Breath of the Wild soundtrack, does a fair bit of this with these quartal and quintal harmony stuffs. They really let these kind of melodies sing out. Okay, so if this is the title track, let's think about writing then another one. So I'm going to save this one so that way I don't lose it. So this is going to be Game Jam. I suppose they call this the OST Fragment Jam is what we're calling it. Fragment Jam. Title track. And we'll put that in organized current scores, and I'll figure it out from there. Okay, there we go. So we got that. Yeah, Mushishi's soundtrack also would use a fair bit of this too. They've got a lot of that half step rub in a lot of their songs too, just to provide that more slightly mysterious sound. It's not by any means malicious, but it is definitely a mysterious sound that goes on there. Okay, so here's the title track, and then we just got to think about what else would I want to write for a hypothetical game and a game that could be. One other idea that I had that is maybe completely unrelated to this would be to write a more heavy sounding song. For instance, let's make a new score, because this quartal and quintal stuff can be used to also. I mean, if you think about music based on fourths and fifths, a lot of rock is based on fourths and fifths as well. So like a saw synth. Stick that in there. I do like the electric piano. Let's see, we'll stick electric piano in there. Though I don't think I like MuseScore 4's electric piano as much as I like the old one. So I might stick the old piano in. And we'll stick in a drum kit. And we'll start there. Maybe one more. We'll stick a electric bass in there. Just because, man, sometimes it's nice. So 5-string electric bass. Well, let's stick the fretless in there too. All right, there we go. Now we got a real, thing going on. Let's see. Let's put jazz combo. There we go. Puts the drum at the bottom. I like having the drum at the bottom. Okay, so let's have this in C minor. Although it's gonna be more like C Locrian or Phrygian probably. Okay, and we got that, and then we got this will be OST Fragment Jam. This will be our heavy track. If we call the other one our light track, this will be heavy. Because what you can also do with these fifths and stuff is you can add in. They make really great, like punchy lines too. So say if I did something like, yeah, man, there's something about that electric piano in MuseScore 4 just sounds like, where is it? Yeah, it's dream piano. I don't even know what dream piano means. I want it to be much not dreamy. I want it to be heavy and dark. So we stick in that tine. Okay. Let's put that tine back in there. Okay. And B. B-doo-doo, B-dee-doo, B-doo. So we do a lot of these 6 B-dee-doo, ba-dee-doo. Dun, dun, dun. little bit too. Let's just see what this sounds like. I probably want to actually shoot this stuff down an octave. It's just a little bit too high. So let's do that, and I didn't mean to take it away. Oh gosh, not what I want to do. There you go. Back in, go. And saw synth. See what you sound like. Okay, saw synth might be a little bit too loud. Let's just make it a little bit quieter. A little bit quieter on the saw synth. Alright, and we get something like... Yeah, it really funky. Okay, if we slow it down just a little bit, say we put it at more like 100. Say... Doo-dee-doo-doo-doo. It's got this real, I mean, just crunchy sound to it. Man, it's pretty though. Pretty. Okay. Yeah, Phrygian. Doody doo doodle. Got such a hefty little dark sound to it. Now quartal and quintal, maybe not super, but does it sound cool? And you know, I've got about just 5 minutes left before I've got to end stream, so we'll just have a little bit of fun with this. There we go. All right, let's see what just the electric bass sounds like. I know exactly what meme you're referencing. That's a classic one. And all together. Okay, the fretless bass is actually a little bit too fuzzy. I want the tone to be a little bit cleaner. So if we get... There we go. Alright, and then the drums, actually, if we do something much more simple in the drums... What kind of drum sounds am I working with here? Alright, let's just see what this sounds like. Yeah. See, because the 16th notes are so off kilter, they don't even feel like they're totally on. Let's just make something real simple to make this. What other sounds we got? Alright, let's check that out. Yeah. See, and this is where, so I've got a little funky line like this, okay? And then we allow the top of this, right? Because the song's biru, and then we have this upper hand hit, that kind of high sound. So if we do a little something like this, of let that linger for a long time till it just disappears. And maybe even include a little bit more tension. Let's say we put want that to be just a real crunchy sound up there. Too happy. What note are you? Oh, that would do it. I was one note off. I was thinking that was D for some reason. Nice little dominant chord there. Okay. Stick in that. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's what we're looking for. And we just make that a little bit softer. So mezzo piano instead. So that way it can. And then we do a little fragment of this. Just a little fragment. We take that and we stick that right here. And we'll let those drums just kind of continue. I'll probably revisit these drums later. But, put that too low. Let's try that again. Okay. We take this. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm just going to have to copy and paste this a little bit more carefully. So we take that and we put it here. Again, take that drum part. Set it there. And then take you And we just did to here. To here. So boom. Alright, and from the top. I need to get all parts in there. And then I just need to hit that low G. Bop, bop. Bop, bop. Bop, bop. So, ba. So I want to hit bop. Bop. So, and Shift S. Hey, look at that. I learned a new shortcut. Shift S on MuseScore is add staccato. Alright, so what do we get if we get that? So we go. Yeah, yeah. It's oh man, these rhythms are so fun. All jazzy and snazzy like. Now see if I can find a way to like tie this one into that first song that we wrote, that'd be great. Just so that they're all connected. At the end of the day, I kind of just need to write 5 minutes of music is really what we're looking at. So here we go, one more time. I just accidentally highlighted the drums. All right, all the parts. And we'll take this, and same thing that I mentioned in the last song, sometimes just taking the chord and dropping it by a whole tone. Oh yeah, see, because that sounds just dangerous, is what that sounds like to me. There you go, good. And I'll put that same. Maybe we'll just arpeggiate it the other way, so start from the top down. Yeah. And we can do a little. And if we made all of these ones staccato, it might be a little bit nicer. So. And if we do a little. And we make that one staccato, and we make that one staccato. Okay. And we take that, copy, paste. I'm copying and pasting this into 3 different instrument types, just because it helps to keep your ear kind of aware and listening to a bunch of different things, so that way you don't get too used to what it sounds like. Because as soon as you get used to what part of it sounds like, then you can kind of like tune into a different part. So let's see what this sounds like from the top. Yeah. These old lines are just fun. See, what I'll probably do is I'll keep the drum part actually just about like this and have another drum part that does kind of like interest hits, right? If I take this snare drum hit, for instance, and I just have it, oops, there you go, back there. Oh my gosh, I'm so used to my A button being bass drum. Okay. B for bass drum. Hey, look at that. Snowshoes did last longer than the 5 minutes I gave him before he wanted to come back in. All right, and then if I just make this loud, accented, and individually we put that note to be just hit it. And then it just kind of scares you awake for a second. There you go. I think the drum parts are still. And same thing, we can take this chord And just like that last song, you can just, man, I love letting these chords sit. So I can take this and let's say we put it in the right octave first off. How's about that? Okay, so we just do something like this. There you go. Say, I knew you'd be able to hear snowshoes. That's my cat. Who just he's a wonderful beast, but man, sometimes he just doesn't know himself as well as he thinks he does. All right, let's see. So if we just stick in the hi-hat, I'm gonna take out the bass drum. All right, as the whole bass kind of drops out from underneath this song. Boom, boom, boom. Delete, and we'll get rid of the backbeat as well. So you just get this kind of. And then we re-enter on that. So this would be 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do-be-do-do-do. And that's when the drums would kick back in too. So we get a little bit of that. And just as one final little flourish before I jump off for today, really simply, let's just make the drums copy the fill here. Da-ba-do-ba. Turn that to boo B. Good. And we make this nice and big and loud. And we'll probably make these parts nice and big and loud too. And we really taper off the drums quick. So back to, that's forte. All right, we're on the top. Well, let's see how loud this is first. Okay, drums are overpowering just a little bit. Let's do just forte. Okay, good. From the top. Yeah, that's nice. It's always fun. I love little hits like that. They're so spicy, and they add a lot of just, I mean, it's just fantastic. Here, one more time. Yeah, let's give that a little accent so you can really hear. Cat. I bet you the snare would actually be better here. Cat. Let's try that out. Yeah, I'm alright with this. And we'll do that and get rid of the dynamic markings just so the song kind of keeps going. Good, beautiful. Alright, one more time for the top, and then we'll end stream for today. Yeah, that's alright. So we'll save that one as well. Again, we're going to be in current scores. And I'll probably put this into its own folder later. Because these are going to be fun. So then what I'll probably look at doing is I'll probably be composing a little bit of this off stream. Just because, like I said, I've only got the 12 days. And I've got to write 5 minutes of music. So I want to make sure that I've got it done. So the next time that I come back with this one, hopefully next Monday, but we'll see. We'll have a little bit more of this done, and I'll just kind of talk about what I did. and see what it sounds like one more time from the top. We can do one more time from the top. I'm pretty happy with it. I actually kind of want to listen through to the other one too. So let's take a listen to this one more time. One more time. One more time. Yeah, it's nice. It's real spooky sounding. I wonder if maybe I could bring back that 16th note line from the first song and put it kind of into this one. Maybe exactly as is, or change it up a little bit, so that these songs are a little bit more connected. So let's go listen to that first song again. I think there's a way to do it. I think that connecting these two songs is going to be a tall order, but I think I'm up to the task. I think it'll be fun. And then probably a third song, and maybe a fourth. But again, we're just looking for 5 total minutes of music. Nothing too crazy. Because 5 minutes of music is a lot of music to review. And I'm sure that the Game Jam folks, people know what they're doing. But nonetheless, as always, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. If you have any ideas for future videos, that'd be fantastic too. I'm working on one. I had a comment suggestion of a song to take a look at, so I'm working on producing that video. That should be out in a couple of weeks. But as always, I look forward to working with you to build your skills from the ground up.